De los países desarrollados para actuar conforme a las obligaciones que se derivan de le agradecemos.
System for making this conference a success. Mr. President, my delegation aligns itself with a statement made by the Group of 77 in China, Africa Group, and that of LDCs. Is convened at critical juncture as we reflect on development in our times and for a better future.
I now have the honor to invite His Excellency Igor Lukšića, Prime Minister of Montenegro, to address the conference.
Mr. Chairman, heads of states, governments, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a pleasure for me to address you on behalf of Montenegro and to contribute through my personal participation to the success of this most important meeting on sustainable development in this decade. I would like to thank our host, President Rousseff, and government of Brazil for hospitality and successful organization of this summit. Sustainable development is a fundamental issue today, an issue that we cannot leave for later. We have gathered here to reassert the importance of implementation of the obligations we have accepted, to assess the achieved, and to look into the challenges we need to face in order to ensure sustainable growth for all the people on this planet. In the contemporary world, the Sustainable Development Strategy is becoming a crucial tool in tackling the global trends. Increase in the size of population, urban development, and unsustainable production and consumption, threats to the environmental balance could all cause an irrevocable damage to our planet. At the same time, in the times when the world is facing severe economic crisis, increase in unemployment and poverty, it is even more important and sensitive to offer the principles of sustainable development as a response to these difficulties. Adoption of key decisions to build a more predictable future requires strong political will and determination of us all. Our citizens expect the political leaders to answer the question how to improve the individual living standards, not only from the aspect of economic growth, but the quality of natural environment as well. No matter how insoluble this rebus might seem, and no matter how mutually conflicting the goals themselves sometimes may seem, the generations to come expect answers from us. Mere statistics regarding economic parameters such as the GDP trends, for example, without taking into consideration the micro perspective of each individual or household, represent a dead-end street. Thus, I welcome the text of the final document that defines how to initiate and sustain through changes in all areas in order to achieve sustainable development in the long run by accomplishment of measurable goals. changes that will ensure continuous economic growth with minimum pressures on the environment, changes that create equal opportunities for social, intellectual, and cultural development of each and every individual. Ladies and gentlemen, in the early 90s, Montenegro defined protection and sustainable use of natural resources as a basis of its economic development. Aware of the fact that the implementation of this idea requires an efficient institutional framework, we've been working intensively to develop an institutional system for sustainable development. The 10-year experience in the work of the National Sustainable Development Council confirms that multi-stakeholder advisory government bodies represent an important tie between the state and the society, a tie that needs to be upgraded as recommended by the final document. Our experience also shows that sustainable development strategies can serve as a successful framework for long-term strategic planning. Besides, within those strategies, it is necessary to define the principles of green economy as an integral part, a mechanism to implement sustainable development in practice. The green or blue economy represents a concept that we in Montenegro are committed to. The main three sectors of our economic growth, tourism, agriculture, energy, involve responsibility and sustainability. Success of the tourism sector depends on a sound and dynamic environment, clean water and fresh air. Our energy sector leans on the renewable sources of energy with over 70% of the total production. We are increasingly focusing on production of homemade food and our local agricultural facilities. Thus, we are determined to protect valuable natural resources and to improve the efficiency of their use. This is our long-term response to the challenges imposed by climate change, and its implementation is even our constitutional obligation. A green economy will also require a better connection between the labor market and education, introduction of lifelong learning, and promotion of an entrepreneurial, innovative, and research-oriented character of the education system. In such a context, efficient institutions that support sustainable development at the national and international level are necessary for further development of the sustainable development agenda and creation of adequate space for the private sector, civil society, or local authorities. They, however, involve a set of values without which the mechanisms, if left to their own devices, are inefficient. Ladies and gentlemen, venturing to revitalize and increase the UN efficiency, a very important element, in my opinion, is to strengthen ECOSOC. Having in mind the need to tackle challenges regarding protection and integration of the environmental pillar into the concept of sustainable development, I believe that it is necessary to strengthen UNEP as well. Sustainable development agenda requires an integrated and coherent approach with clearly defined priorities. To that end, in the upcoming period, we must strongly support the definition of measurable goals that will guide our future development. I believe that the conclusions of the summit will be encouraging enough for all the countries to commit themselves to the creation of mechanisms at the national level which will show that the consumer interests, business interests, and green interests should not necessarily collide. Montenegro is ready, in cooperation with the international community, to serve as an experimental area for fundamental changes that each of our societies must turn to. Today, the countries can either responsibly approach the implementation of necessary measures as a response to the challenges of the modern times, or they can postpone them for some future times. Montenegro has recognized its role. I believe that in this process we will achieve full cooperation with the regional and international partners and the UN system, as we see their role as vital in our endeavors to make successful transition to the economy that uses natural resources in a responsible and efficient manner. In that context, as one of the 50 countries in the world, we have supported the initiative of the UN Secretary General, Sustainable Energy for All. Besides, together with the UN in Montenegro, we are building the first UN building that will truly be environmentally friendly and self-sustainable, energy efficient, and as such it will serve as an example and incentive to others. Ladies and gentlemen, we are fully aware of the importance of sustainable future and that this is an ambitious, complex, and responsible task. I am certain that we can live up to it and that upon our return from Rio, we will demonstrate the determination and responsibility to leave to the future generations the heritage of a clearer, healthier, safer, and prosperous economies. Thank you very much.